All right, our December 7 devotional called Here I Am. And look, it's a ram. Ow. It's a ram in plants. Can you guess what story it might be from the Bible? It's from Genesis 22, 1 through 2, 6, 11 through 14. Ready? God tested Abraham's faith. God said to him, Abraham? And he answered, Here I am. Then God said, Take your only son, Isaac, the son you love, and go to the land of Moriah. Kill him there and offer him as a whole burnt offering at one of the mountains I will tell you about. Abraham took the wood for the sacrifice and gave it to his son to carry, but he himself took the knife and the fire. So he and his son went on together. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. Abraham answered, Yes. And the angel said, Don't kill your son or hurt him in any way. Now I can see that you trust God and that you have not kept your son, your only son, from me. Then Abraham looked up and saw a male sheep caught in a bush by its horns. So Abraham went and took the sheep and killed it. He offered it as a whole burnt offering to God, and his son was saved. So Abraham named that place, The Lord Provides. Even today, people say, On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. It's one of those sayings that came from the Bible. All right. Long ago, people built altars, just stacks of wooden sticks, and laid lambs on the altar as a sacrifice, as a love gift to God. But over time, people forgot about the one real God's love. They made up fake gods and said that their angry gods didn't want a lamb as a gift on the altar, but demanded children instead. Can you imagine? For years, people hoped there was a real God somewhere who would come and tell them to stop sacrificing their children on the altar. One day, the real God came and called Abraham. And Abraham said, Here I am. And God said, You know that very own son of yours, whom you love with your whole huge, soft heart. Come sacrifice him as a present to me on an altar up on a mountain I will show you. Abraham nodded a slow yes. Lay his very own miraculous child down on an altar. Kill him as a sacrifice, a present to God? Abraham didn't argue. He didn't complain. He didn't get angry. The only thing Abraham said to God was, Here I am. When you say those three words, Here I am, it's another way of saying another three words, I love you. And Abraham could feel God's love all around him. He could feel it just like air. God's love was everywhere. Abraham trusted God, trusted that God's love would be like air and fill his lungs, would fill his hurting places, would keep his whole huge soft heart beating brave. He trusted that God would provide another way if he would just obey. Early the next morning, Abraham called Isaac, and together they followed God up a mountain. In Abraham's hand was a knife. On Isaac's back was the wood. But Dad, Isaac said, turning, where is the lamb for the sacrifice for the love gift? Abraham breathed in deep, filling his lungs, and then he exhaled what he believed. God will provide us with the lamb for the sacrifice, the present. Worry is always belief gone wrong because you don't believe that God will get it right. Peace is belief that exhales because you believe that God's love is everywhere, like air. Abraham stacked the wood. He made an altar, a place for a gift. Abraham laid his very own miraculous child down on the altar, and then his fingers gripped tight around the knife because it was time to obey God. And he thought his whole huge soft heart might break. But he took a deep breath, lifting the glinting sharp edge of the knife over his child, and Abraham, Abraham, the one real God interrupted, and Abraham exhaled relief. Here I am. He said what he always said to God, said those three words just as if he were saying another three words to God. I love you. Stop, God said. You were willing to give me your own love gift, your only son. But the one real God hoped to show the world that he wanted all his miraculous children to be living presents to him, to be living sacrifices, living gifts. The one real God wanted all his children to say every day to him, to people in need, those three words, Here I am, which is another way of saying three other words, I love you. Here's a picture of Abraham and Isaac. they are up on the mountain, and there's the ram. Do you see? And there's their altar they had built. And there in the thicket a ram bleated. Abraham picked it up, just like picking up a present, and he laid the ram on the altar. Everywhere, everywhere, God provides presents. Just like many years later, God's own miraculous Son would carry a wooden cross up on a hill to be our very own lamb, the most miraculous present to the whole world. The whole world is breathing in air everywhere right now, breathing in the love of God. What would it look like for you to trust God with your whole heart today? I wonder what that would look like. All right, that is December 7th.